Hi, it's Laura at Aquamarine18. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I am here for another day of Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot, and today is day 16. I want to apologize. I am quite hoarse. I have a sore throat just in the last couple of days, so I will be drinking my orange juice. But unlike a lot of the other videos which I pre-recorded for this 31 days, this one I'm actually filming, right to go out. And I wanted to make sure that I got my videos out on the correct days. So I'm stuck with this scratchy cough that hopefully won't be too bad, but I'm going to try my best. Okay, so today's prompt for day 16 is paint, draw, collage your 2020 tarot card, and why have you chosen this card? Okay. I will start with why I chose this card, and then I will proceed to not answer the prompt as asked. So, I chose my 2020 card of the year as the Hanged Man. And the reason that the Hanged Man is my 2020 card of the year is not so much that it's that I chose it, it's that it's calculated numerologically with reference to my birthday and the year 2020. So I'll link a website below that will tell you how to do this in the way that I've done it. I know there are a few different ways of calculating a card of the year. But basically for mine, I took my birth date, so like the number of the day of the month I was born. My birth month represented as a number, so March is 3, and the year 2020, and add them together. So, birth month, birth year plus 2020, you get that 4-digit number. And then from there, you add the 4 digits together in the 4-digit number, and you keep reducing like that until you get to a number that's between 1 and 22. 22 here represents the Fool, since you can't reduce down to 0 by adding. So if you got 22, it would be the Fool. So you reduce down the numbers that way until you get to one between 1 and 22, and that represents a major arcana card for the year. And mine reduce down to 12, which is how I got the Hanged Man. And so this also means that you're, if you do it this way, you're kind of working through the major arcana year by year. So last year, I chose to work with the Justice card. Obviously, as 11, I might have picked Strength or Justice, depending on what system I was working with most predominantly at the time. But I worked with Justice last year. So this year, I have the Hanged Man, and I've shown in a previous video that I have a section in the back of my planner dedicated to kind of Hanged Man notes to see, how I experience this card throughout the year. So that's why I chose it. That's the first part of the question, or second, I guess, but I'm saying it first. The first part of the prompt, which I'm addressing now, says paint, draw, or collage your 2020 card. I have elected not to do that. I have some artistic skills when it comes to music, but when it comes to visual arts, I do not. So I'm not going to make anyone suffer through my attempt to visually represent the Hanged Man. I assure you, it would not be good. So instead, I've chosen a small handful of hanged ones that I like from my tarot collection that I think each say something that I like about this card and that I want to explore about this card. So I thought I would share those instead. We, in the tarot community are lovers of art, of course, because what is a deck of cards but, 78 pieces of artwork? And there are so many great artists who have made tarot decks, and so many great artists in general, and I am just not one. And that is not me being, kind and humble. I suck. I do. So, no. Here we go. Favorite Hanged Man cards. The first one I showed already. Just held it up a few times, and it's very glossy cardstock, you can tell. And this is the Hanged Man from the Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright. And this whole deck is silhouettes like this, with really great, color combinations, and really, really beautiful. And I really particularly like in this deck some of the cards like this Hanged Man that are, the figure is a little bit further away. Some of them are quite close up, but I really like this one. And with the Hanged Man in the Spirit Within, in the guidebook, there's a sense of sacrifice here. Like, what could you be doing that you're not doing by taking this time to pause? I also like about this one, partly because of the kind of vantage point being far away. You can think about the ways that the Hanged Man, is about kind of finding new perspectives on your surroundings, or taking, look from a different angle. And we can imagine that this particular Hanged Man can see really far around them. They seem to, perhaps they're up on a hill there. So I really like that image of the Hanged Man. I also have one here from the Anima Mundi tarot. And this one has a spider, which I've seen other decks do a spider as the Hanged Man, but I really like this painting in particular. And the guidebook for this one talks about the ways that the male spider of this species sacrifices himself, in the process of, the next generation of spiders being created. He gets devoured by his mate. And so again, there's the element of sacrifice that can be found in the Hanged Man, as well as this kind of sense of suspension in midair that comes with this spider there. I have the Hanged Man from the Steampunk tarot. And this one is perhaps a little bit of a more conventional one. But I like a lot about this particular card. One is that in this card, and this makes it unusual from the other ones I'm showing, you can see his foot is actually chained there, right? So this depiction of the Hanged Man, more than some of the others, to me, visually anyway, does ask the question of, like, did he choose to hang out here for a while, or has he been put here, right? Because, thinking about the Hanged Man, I think we often think about this kind of taking a pause, stepping back, reflexive moment, of, it might feel stuck a little bit, but a sense of pause, right? But hanging, like, we can also think of hanging as like a punishment, right? And in his writing, Arthur Edward Waite, writing about the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, refers to the tree, like what looks like a tree that the hangman is hanging from, as a gallows, right? Which raises obviously a whole different set of questions and potential meanings, and we start to think about martyrdom and punishment, or feeling like one is being targeted, rightly or wrongly, and to me, a sense of accountability, right? This kind of inevitability of just letting kind of the inevitable occur, and part of that being kind of the results of our own actions catching up with us. So I like that this Hanged Man feels more bound than some of the others. I think it's, those aspects of this card are important, I think. And a lot of the contemporary depictions to me don't really go there so much. So I like that card for that reason. Next up, I have the Hanged Woman, actually, from our tarot. And I'm not sure how well this will pick up in this light, but the Hanged Woman in this card is Hypatia, who was an ancient mathematician, philosopher, and we don't have any of Hypatia's original writings left, actually. We do have some of her commentaries on other texts, and there's a journal of feminist philosophy named for Hypatia, but I really liked some of what the creator of our tarot, Sarah Shipman, had to say about the choice of Hypatia here. And like this is a deck that I've struggled a little bit with because I just don't know all of the figures in this deck. But Hypatia I am familiar with. And Hypatia was someone who, because of her brilliance and wisdom, was sought out as an advisor, I guess. And so, yeah, and this has to do with why she was chosen. So I'll just read a little paragraph from here to give an idea of why Hypatia was chosen for the Hanged Woman here. And so it says, because Hypatia's teaching and wisdom were so well regarded, the governor of Alexandria, Orestes, often sought her counsel on various matters. When a feud erupted between Orestes and Cyril, the Christian bishop of Alexandria, the citizens wanted someone to blame. In tragic historical tradition, a powerful woman was used as a scapegoat. In 415, and that's 415 CE, when Hypatia was anywhere between 44 to 65 years old, a mob of angry Christians called the Parabolani kidnapped her, and she was humiliated and violently murdered. Her death is regarded as the end of classical antiquity and the end of a certain style of learning and way of thinking. Indeed, no works attributed solely to Hypatia survive today. We have her commentaries on various works that she edited, but history has silenced Hypatia's voice. And so, representing her as the Hanged Woman, Sarah Shipman writes, reveals that we may be feeling restricted. Another way to phrase this is that we may feel delayed, as though the right time for us and for our ideas have not arrived yet. Right? And so she says, Hypatia was regarded as both a demonic witch and a paragon of virtue, a dichotomy reflected in this card's traditional representation of martyrdom. So again, like a little bit like the one in the Steampunk Tarot, having Hypatia as the Hanged Woman here does bring in those elements of punishment associated with the hanging and the hanged man, of the sense of feeling of being targeted for standing out. Think of this kind of, the nail that stands out the furthest get hammered down first, right? Like that is what I think of with this card. And so I appreciate the inclusion of those meanings here, and I really like that Hypatia is included in this deck. And the last Hanged Man that I will show is from the Heart and Hands Tarot by Liz Blackburn. And I just love this deck, as folks know. And here the Hanged Man is depicted as almost, to me, looking like they're in a cocoon. So I like that this deck brings to mind, for me anyway, the ways in which the Hanged Man is a transformative moment, right? Like, and whether that moment of suspension is one of feeling stuck or feeling punished or feeling called to account or feeling contemplative or feeling curious or feeling held back or feeling voluntarily, delaying oneself. I think it all can get encapsulated in this idea that this is a moment where real transformation can happen, and seeing things in a new way can transform us as people. So I like that depiction of the Hanged Man as well. So that's just 5. There are many more wonderful Hanged Man representations out there. I'm looking forward to getting to know this archetype better over the course of the year. I'm excited, as always, to see what cards other folks are working with this year and how they've chosen the cards that they are working with, if you've chosen them in a different way than I have. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you here tomorrow for another day of 31 Days of Tarot. Bye.